Hello, this is wmpyr. I received another question from the comments, and this person asked me, he said, in Filipino martial arts, with the sticks and with the knives, do you use the hip like in boxing? And the answer is yes. Yes, we do. In fact, to put it simply, I think more and more there are people that cross-train, Filipino martial artists, even people in the Philippines that cross-train with Western boxing, and that's become more and more common. And also with the popularity of MMA, I feel like now we're going to see even more of that kind of stuff, where you're going to see groundwork and grappling stuff as well, not just boxing and kickboxing, but absolutely, absolutely. And since a long time ago, Western boxing and Filipino martial arts have always had a close relationship. So pretty much everything you see in Western boxing, the way they train and all that, you bring it over to Filipino martial arts. So if you're interested in Filipino martial arts, don't be afraid to cross-train and bring in a lot of Western boxing into your training, okay? Most of it can just be brought over as is. Sure, there's going to be some things that differ, I mean, just because we're using weapons and stuff, and, we're training for self-defense and no rules type situation. But pretty much everything you do in boxing, most of it can be brought over, and that's a good idea. I highly recommend it, okay? So, first of all, in Filipino martial arts, the thing, like you're doing something like the Heaven Six, I would recommend don't worry about hips, don't worry about shoulder or foot placement or anything like that. Number one thing is just memorize the arm movements, okay? So the pattern that we have with the arms, we have all kinds of different patterns that we do. And the first step is to just memorize that, slow it down and get that down. Even with angles of attack like this, just, memorize the technique. Don't worry about how is it used in real life. That'll all come, okay? First thing is you need to get enough practice. So memorize the techniques and just repetition, repetition, and it'll start to become more realistic. You could start to add those things. But if you start right off the bat, let's make it realistic. What I've seen is the technique is poor. The people that do that, they go right away into application and self-defense. Their technique is really, really bad. It's piss poor. So I recommend, just get the repetitions down. So as you do that, the next major thing is, after memorization, just memorizing the arms, the next thing is this movement right here. This is a big component, and it's very simple. I'm just turning to the right and to the left, to the right and to the left. I'm just doing the twist. I'm not moving forward or sideways. On the balls of my foot, I'm just turning like this. And if you notice, when I do this, it forces me to use my hips, okay? So I have to turn my hips. So essentially, yeah, I am turning hips. And the thing is, my hip and my shoulder are moving together. It's like they're glued together. So when I do this, they're moving at the same time, okay? When your skill gets better, now you're going to play with that. And for example, you're going to delay the shoulder, so the hip goes first and then the shoulder gets pulled. And when you do that, now you start going into a whip type motion. And the whip type motion is very useful, where I see boxers do it too. So it is used in boxing as well. So it's used in Filipino martial arts, it's used in boxing. So definitely, 100%, we do use the hips, okay? Whether it's a blade or whether it's stick or whether it's machete, that kind of whip type movement is very efficient. So we do it for sure, okay? And it has the common ground with Western boxing. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.